to the Dan Show, starring Dan Whalen.
Hey guys, welcome back to my show where we talk about all things movies, TV shows, and cigars. And today we're going to be talking about something that is strictly just like made from my childhood. I mean, I grew up loving this franchise. I still love this franchise. And it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, I still end up loving it more and more and more. And in this franchise, they had some flops, but I still ended up loving the movies anyway. I could critique them all day, but you know what, man? And I feel like everyone's on the same boat with me. We're going to be talking about Star Wars and the Phantom Menace. Now, I know there's a million, a ton of, movies in this franchise. But I'm going to start from pretty much number one. I know they did it backwards for some reason. I know it started with 4, 5, and 6, and then they did 1, 2, 3 later. Don't know why they did that. Don't care why they did that. They did it anyway. But the movie still ended up being awesome. But we're going to be talking about the Phantom Menace today. Before we get started, if you could please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, it definitely helps me out. And stay tuned for more videos. So, this movie for some reason is a hit or miss with a lot of people. I don't know why. I thought it was awesome. I actually kind of liked that the first 3 movies we're going to be talking about, we're going to go in order, of course. I like that the Jedi are still kind of around. I liked that the Jedi were present in the first 3 movies. But, everybody knows who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. He's young in this movie. He's, literally still a Padawan. Or, he's still, an apprentice. Or, just, under Qui-Gon Jinn. Which Qui-Gon, oh my god. Qui-Gon, I think, is, the coolest character in this movie. And I like him because he's a good guy, but he does whatever he wants. He doesn't really follow the Jedi rules. And you'll learn more about him. He kind of, he's kind of you'll know what I'm talking about when I get to, the pod racing with Anakin Skywalker, which, if you don't know who Anakin Skywalker is at this point, what are you doing in your life? Everyone should know who that is. But, anyway, so, yeah, it pretty much starts with, Obi-Wan and, Qui-Gon entering this Viceroy ship. The Viceroy, I guess, are working for the Emperor, which everybody should know about him by now. All about that, whatever. But, I don't know, this movie is definitely just, the coolest way to revamp the Star Wars series. Because, again, for some reason in the 70s, they did 4, 5, and 6. 70s and 80s, they did 4, 5, and 6. And then, years later, almost 20 years later, they decided to do 1, 2, and 3. And I love this movie. This movie kicked ass. It was so good. Watch out for Jar Jar. Jar Jar is kind of the most annoying thing you've ever seen. And if you know, I don't even think it's a conspiracy. I think it was actually almost a thing where they almost made Jar Jar a Sith Lord, which, nah, dude. I can't see it. I cannot see Misaka Jar Jar. I can't see him being a Sith Lord at fucking all. But it is what it is. Life goes on. Whatever. But this movie's cool because it introduces a young Anakin Skywalker. Which, spoiler alert, if you don't know by now, he's Darth Vader. Okay, he's Darth Vader. This little kid, ends up being Darth Vader. And I remember being really little. I want to say I was 4 or 5 years old when the first time I saw this movie. And I remember my mom leaned in, she's like, that's Darth Vader, right? And I was like, oops, whatever. But anyway, we're gonna kind of go into the story a little bit here. So pretty much the problem is there's a planet called Naboo, and they have this trade federation, that's kind of overthrowing the planet. And the Jedi have to pretty much take care of the Queen. They take the Queen to this city planet called Coruscant, which is kind of, oh my god, I'd lose my mind here. I don't think there's even a tree there. I would lose it. I cannot be in a city or a planet even that's a whole entire city. I'd lose my mind. But all in all, you see all the flying cars, you see everything like that. And it's kind of a cool thing. And they're pretty much just trying to figure out how to get Naboo back. Which is the planet that the Queen kind of takes over, or that she's in charge of, whatever. But a lot of action in this movie, a lot of wars. The droids are kind of dumb, but when you actually get to the Gungan, which is what Jar Jar Binks' race is, when you see the Gungan and the droid war, I love that scene. That whole scene is awesome. The whole fight is cool. I don't get what the little balls were, but all in all, it was a cool fight scene. It was a cool concept. It was kind of just to hold off the army while the Jedi, which would be Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and all the other soldiers that are trying to protect the Queen, just kind of do their thing. And they're just trying to pretty much, stop the Viceroy from invading the planet. That's essentially kind of what it is. I'm gonna bring up a character that I absolutely adore, who I just did not think got enough screen time in any of the Star Wars movies at all. I love Darth Maul. Darth Maul is so cool. He's kind of like he's the Sith Lord under Lord Palpatine or Lord Sidious, which, you know, like I said, again, it's been X amount of years, guys. If you don't know anything about Star Wars, you've been living under a rock your entire life. Like, come on, get with the program. But like, Darth Maul is a really, really cool character. He's definitely one of my favorites. I love the dual lightsaber, like the dual blades. I think that's awesome. The fight choreography between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul is like a 12 out of 10. And I think the guy who played Darth Maul is Ray Park. And, you know, if you don't know him, he's like a martial artist, like choreography, you know, flipping, acrobatic, just badass. Like, the dude's kind of cool. He also played Toad in X-Men, which I don't know if I'm going to be talking about X-Men at all, because I don't know the direction of the X-Men movies in the future, but we'll do with that later. But all in all, like, Ray Park is pretty damn cool. He's a cool actor, he's a cool guy in real life too. And all in all, the guy knows how to flip and flop and go left and right, all that cool stuff, whatever. But the fight choreography in this movie kicks butt. All in all, like, just some of the weird gadgets that Star Wars has is crazy. You know, I think this is actually the last movie that they decided to make, what's his name, Yoda, a puppet. But then they revamped it, like they actually remastered these Star Wars movies to make them more modern. And then I think in the modern ones, you know, like after they remastered, they made Yoda CGI, which is like, alright, well, we're getting with the times, I guess, you know, like, whatever. And honestly, the CGI of Yoda is not the worst I've ever seen, ever. I actually think the CGI in all the movies is actually pretty good. Even the back in the day, like the 70s and 80s ones is really, like, practical effects, you know, some kind of, like, effects here and there. They did not look terrible for what they had. And these movies are just, they're just a classic. Like, they are, like, timeless. They will not get old. You know, and honestly, they kind of really can't redo them. They just kind of add more and more onto them. See, I didn't care much for Boba Fett. I kind of liked The Mandalorian. I thought The Mandalorian was kind of good. I haven't watched Endor. I haven't watched anything like that. Leave in the comment section, you know, what you thought of, like, pretty much leave in the comment section what you thought of the whole franchise. I pretty much liked all the way up from 1 to 9, and I even liked Rogue One. Even the Solo movie wasn't that bad. You know, like I said, we got a lot of Star Wars to cover. Like, I actually am kind of excited that we're diving into this. And again, we're gonna go one at a time. But yeah, no, like I really liked the Phantom Menace. I thought the Phantom Menace was good. Me and my friends, we binge them all the time because why not? You know, they just don't get old. And these movies are just amazing. I mean, every single one of them. And like I said, I like that the Jedi are still around. You know, like there's just a bunch of them, and they're kind of like out to just do the right thing. You know, until we get to a certain order, you know, 66, that just kind of takes everything out. We'll get to that in a different video. But all in all, like, I love the Phantom Menace. If I had to rate it, I'd give it probably, if I'm being completely real, I'd say like a 7.5, maybe like an 8. And you know what? I might get heat for that because I know there's like 50-50 on this movie. Some people thought this movie was garbage. Other people like me thought it was really good. And I don't know, I thought it was like the perfect revamp of a 20-year franchise that, like, you know, like needed to continue. Like, it was almost like the prequel to what was already made, clearly, duh. But it's episode 1 20 years later after they already did episode 6, which is really kind of confusing. And I don't know if George Lucas just was like, I don't know if he thought it wasn't going to go anywhere, or it wasn't going to be as good as he thought, but it ended up being freaking cool. Like, it ended up working. It's pretty much the pinnacle of George Lucas's career, I think. But I don't know. Like I said, leave in the comment section what you guys thought. I love the movie. So good. What's her name? Natalie Portman is Queen Amidala in this, and she's so young. She's adorable. I think Natalie Portman's gorgeous. But, like, you know, in this movie, she's got like the funky, weird makeup, and then the second, because she has to kind of like go undercover as like a normal person, and I think they got Keira Knightley to play the backup queen, which even Keira Knightley's a good looking woman. Like I was gonna say, like, any the actresses who kind of like played Queen Amidala, they're both really good looking, even though in the movies when you watch them, like, what the hell are they wearing and what is on their face, you have no idea. It's just the goofy, weird Star Wars makeup a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I guess, where fashion was not a thing. Anyway, so like in the comment section what you thought of this movie. Let me know how you feel about these videos in general. Like I said, I'm having a great time with this, guys. I love doing this. And like, I'm in summertime now in Florida. At least I'm considering this to be summer because it's hotter than hell outside. I run a pool technician company, so it's been busy for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to make a video at least once a week. I know I'm running behind on this one, but I actually kind of was like trying to figure out what my next segment was going to be, and I picked Star Wars. And I think this is going to be interesting for all of us. It's going to be interesting for me. And I have a lot of content to go over, so this will be perfect for a while. So, like I said, guys, I appreciate all the views. I appreciate all the likes and comments, everything like that. Please subscribe again. And I can't wait to do the next video because I actually think the second movie is probably my least favorite in the entire thing. But all in all, like, it's still good. And like when you get to the clone army and the droid battle, it's gonna kick ass, guys. Like I said, if you haven't watched the Star Wars movies, you're probably lying to me if you put that you haven't. But if you haven't, well, you know, get on it because it's really good. I prefer Star Wars over Star Trek, which I don't know much about Star Trek, so I like really can't compare the two. But all in all, Star Wars is so awesome. Star Wars is so cool. Start with the Phantom Menace. That's technically #1 in the whole franchise. You know, you get to see young Anakin who ends up being Darth Vader. I just wish Qui-Gon Jinn. Oh god. I just wish Qui-Gon Jinn lasted a little longer. I truly do, because Qui-Gon really is a really cool character. He's smart, he's witty, and like I said, it's kind of cool that when what happens to him ends up just like setting the tone for the rest of them, if that makes sense. Like Qui-Gon ends up, you know, spoiler, dying. Obi-Wan ends up training Anakin to become a Jedi, but for some reason, since then, it's almost like, I don't know, it's like weird. Anakin's life was brutal, but it almost started with when Qui-Gon died, that Anakin just went down this rabbit hole of evil, or just started just becoming like a punk ass, whatever you want to call it. But all in all, like I said, like the movie is awesome. I probably left a bunch out, which is fine. Like, I only have a limited amount of time to do these. I try to just kind of sell you on what I feel is the coolest parts of the movie. Well, the fighting choreography, everything like that. And there's also the pod race. The pod race, I think, was a little bit too long of a scene, but it was necessary for the movie. Like I said, you'll find out that Anakin was a slave, and so was his mom to a little bug. Like this bug. You know, it's kind of weird how that happened, but he's a cool guy. Like I said, it all kind of figures out. And Qui-Gon, like I said, you find out that he's more of like the rebel Jedi. Like he ends up like kind of like flipping there's this little dice, you know, I guess, and I guess he cheats in the process. Like I said, it's not the Jedi way, but it's the Qui-Gon way, which is a whole different world. Thank you for watching my video, guys. Stay tuned for more content, and please, guys, always remember to have a fantastic day.